So are we meant to create an NFT minter from scratch, or can we adapt it from the creators? No, you're not meant to create an NFT minter from scratch. You can adapt it from the example that I've provided, and also the example that you can find on GitHub and on the Motoko documentation. The goal is not to create everything from scratch, but more to personalize and customize the minter.
Right, and the same thing goes for this entire bootcamp. The point of this bootcamp is for you to be able to learn and to get you to a place where you can build these applications by yourself. So if you have a application idea, you should be able to build it and have the requisite knowledge for it. So it shouldn't matter if you retrofit some code that you found on GitHub, because the point of having open source is so that we can learn from each other's experiences.
Hey, Saikat, and hey, Seb. So I have a question regarding it was the beginning of the guide for the challenge of today. So there is when you import the type that you created for, you give the example of a person, you write person and then how do you say, entre guillemets, personne. And so I just wanted to be sure that to understand that the first person with a capital P, it's the type, and entre guillemets is the file that you want to import, right?
Exactly, that's correct. The file is supposed to be called person.mo. You don't need to add the .mo extension. You can just write person. Motoko knows that it will import a .mo file.
Okay. So, and I have another question is, when you are in your main Motoko file and that you import your type that you just created, then in the guide there is something like public type person, and then it's equal person.person, but it's and you say that person.persons means grab the type person from the person module. So so it's also a way to point to the file, or it's different.
So you have the import person person at the top of the file, which represents the module that is imported from the file.
Yes.
And then you have the type that is imported from the module. So you have like 3 steps. And person.person is the person type from the person module. You could have multiple types from the person module. Let's say you have like a animal type. You would write person.animal, public type animal, or just type animal equals person.animal. And you would grab the type animal from the person module.
Oh, okay. So, but there is one that's represent the name of the file. The first one is the name of the file, or is it?
No, it's the name of the module. You have already imported the module at the top.
Yes.
So in the at the top, it's before the actor declaration. You have the import person.
Yes, this I get, yes.
And you have the path of the file. If your file is like located in a folder or something, you need to specify the path to the file. we don't need to do it because, well, it's the file is at the same level, so you can just write person.
Okay.
It will work, but basically it's the file path. And then you have the module inside your actor declaration. So you don't need to like talk about the module again once you are in the actor body.
Yes.
You have the person with a capital P, I think, in the example. It's the
Yes.
module person. So you don't need to think about the file.
Okay. Okay.
If you take a look at the module, there is the keyword module and then some brackets. And inside of that you have the type. So you have two levels to grab the type. You need to grab the module and then to grab the type. So to sum up, you grab the file, then the file grab the module, and the module grab the type.
Okay.
I think we have an example on the screen right now.
Okay. So this is the another.mo. Okay, I get it. Yeah.
I think you're muted.
No, I'm not muted. You mean Psycat?
My bad.
Yes.
My bad. Yeah, sorry. So every Motoko file that you create, you'll basically have this thing called a module. So what module is basically a way of namespacing things. So I can have a file called another, and I have this module inside, and inside that I can have anything. I can have a type, I can have a func. Let's forget the public for now. I want to demonstrate something else also. And then this doesn't return anything, right? So this is fine. Now the thing is, when you need to import something from here, let's say I want to import the type person into my actor. So what I need to do is, first I need to import, I call it person. Import person. So here, although I'm calling it person, I could have called it something else also. Person, somebody else. And then I could say another dot. I think .mo is not required. I just have to say yeah.
But why you can write person somebody else? Because
that's the thing. So yeah, I'm trying to explain. Right. Okay. So the thing is, another over here is just the file name, right? And this module is the default export for this particular mo file, for this particular Motoko file. So this module is the default export. So when you're importing it, you can give it any name you want. You can actually call it person, because that might make sense, because you are probably want to have person related things over here, but you can call it anything that you want. And this refers to the module that was exported in this file. Now, if I want to access this type inside my actor, what I need to say is like this. So let's say for instance of person. And if over here I am trying to refer to that, what I need to say is person somebody else dot person. But right now you'll see that this actually gives me an error.
Okay. I think
I need to actually say something. Now this gives me an error. Why does it give me an error? Because it says person does not exist in this type module. So I have imported person somebody else, but somehow person doesn't exist. The reason person doesn't exist is it is not shared or public. So if I make it public, now the compiler will be happy. And then I need to define inside that age and name are there. So I need to say name equal to name. Right? Now the compiler is absolutely happy. But so two things. Number one is this module is the default export. You can import it in another Motoko file with any name you want. And if you want to access things inside it, then you have to use the dot notation.
Okay. So it's like a function. You can change the name person to person somebody else, and it doesn't matter. It works like a function. The import. right?
Not exactly a function, but essentially in other languages, this feature of the language is called namespacing. But basically, even in JavaScript, you have something similar with import and export. Like you basically import and export default modules. It's something very similar. But the point is, this is a way of namespacing different code in different files.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We have a question, which is it possible to have multiple modules in one file? I'm not sure. Can you show me?
Yeah, I can actually try. Even while I was typing this out, I was actually thinking of the same thing. So what might probably happen is it says cannot produce expected type. Yeah, I don't think this is allowed. Let me try something else.
Maybe if you name the module.
Yeah. Yep. Now it allows. So okay, I get how this is working.
Yeah.
This is a fail for the documentation. They should have documented this. But the point is basically you can have different modules in the same file. And then if you're trying to import from the same file, you have to specify. So now I think this will work. So it still doesn't like. I think you have to put like this maybe. Yep, it's just like JavaScript. So you can have multiple modules also exported from the same file. But in that case, because the compiler doesn't know which one you actually mean, you have to specifically say, hey, I want the module 1 from here and I'm accessing it by name. But ideally, I would suggest not to do this because it becomes confusing. Ideally, you want to have like one file for co-locating all your functions regarding one specific thing. But this is possible essentially.
Okay. And okay, thank you very much.
More advanced, but yeah, this is also not documented. So I think, yeah.
I have another question regarding the lecture of yesterday. I could not make it, but I watched it the recording about how to set up a website on the IC, and I was wondering if it is possible or if it will be possible in the future to have a WordPress website that is hosted on IC, or it's not possible at all.
What do you mean? We hosted it, right? At the very end, I have an update video that I also shared. If you watch that, we actually managed to deploy it. I was facing some deployment issues, but I got it fixed and I shared it a separate update video. Is that what you're referring to?
No, I don't know. So WordPress is a kind of it's an app or it's a plugin. I don't know that you when you create websites, you know it's. And I was wondering if we could host a WordPress, install a WordPress app on.
WordPress. No. Okay. Now I understand the question. So no, it will not be possible to install WordPress on the IC. However, WordPress is a class of apps that we commonly call CMS, Content Management System. So I do expect that some CMS which is native to the IC will be built in the future, or maybe somebody is already working on it.
Okay.
But essentially, so the thing about WordPress is WordPress requires a language runtime for PHP to be hosted on your server. So essentially how WordPress works is there is a Linux server on top of which they're ideally running some sort of reverse proxy like Nginx or something. And then you have the LAMP stack, I believe they are called Linux, Apache, what is M, I forget, and P is for PHP. Oh, M is for MySQL. So that entire thing is required for WordPress to run on a server. So that is currently not possible. Like that is not how the IC works. The IC in itself is a complete runtime to run any WebAssembly code. So essentially, if somebody were to write a CMS specifically meant for the IC, that is how it would work, I imagine.
And okay, so Seb is saying, he's saying that we used ICME for the Motoko Bootcamp.
So ICME is quite. I've never used WordPress, so I'm not sure. But ICME is basically it allows you to create websites really easily without knowing how to code. It's kind of like WordPress style of website, I guess. And we use it for the Motoko Bootcamp.
ICME is actually part of that class of application called content management systems, basically. But again, WordPress at this stage is much more powerful. But the point is with ICME, you can actually create static sites without having to write any code. Like using drag and drop inside the browser, you can just create your website, and when you hit the deploy button, it deploys it to the IC.
Okay, so yeah, I understand that it's only the beginning, and that stuff will come. Okay, so thank you very much. So I don't know what if someone if other people have question, but if you have time, just to go maybe through the challenge number 2 or 3, just so that we can so that I can see what. Yeah, how you manage the thing between the different files, because I think I got a little confused with that.
Seb, do you want to take a crack at it? Actually, I haven't checked out all the challenges.
Yeah, I can do it. Maybe just take another question, just the time for me to get set up.
Sure. I don't see any other hands raised, but
There is
if
a
anybody
question
has a question.
on the, there is like a vague question on Motoko would be good
Okay.
for function programming style.
Yeah. So somebody asked that Motoko would be good for functional programming style of programming. Ideally, the way I look at Motoko is, so Motoko is part of this class of languages called a general purpose language. So they have syntactic features, just like JavaScript, for example. They have syntactic features that allow them to do things like functional style. So you have things like map, filter, reduce, which sort of let you pass in functions and get outputs or get functions in return. So things like higher order functions. But then Motoko also has features for doing imperative style of programming, where you use for loops, if else loops, switch cases, and such. You can even do object oriented programming with Motoko. So essentially you can have classes and objects to do. So I think like it's a good general purpose language, and since it is garbage collected, you also don't have to worry about manual memory management. So I think Motoko is like it's a proper general purpose programming language, and it's pretty modern. So it has a lot of features that a lot of other programming languages don't have. For example, we have the type NAT, which is unbounded. So essentially it will never overflow, right? And like this is one like strong feature which other languages don't have. It has the actor paradigm. Again, this paradigm exists in other languages, but then they have to use libraries for it, whereas in Motoko this is inbuilt. So I think like for development on the IC specifically, Motoko is a really powerful and multi-paradigm language. Okay, I think Seb is set up. He's just going to share how we do the challenge 2 and 3, I believe. So Abraham asks that whether we can transfer some cycles from one wallet to another. You absolutely can, Abraham. So that is how cycles function. Basically, the way to think about it, anything that is deployed to the IC is actually a canister. So even what happens is this cycles wallet that we deploy, that is basically a canister that was written by the Dfinity team, and it is like a pre-bundled WASM bundle that is already available in your DFX. So when you do that DFX wallet deploy, it basically deploys your a wallet canister for you to interact with. And with the wallet canister, there are some methods available. So one of those methods is a send method. So essentially using the wallet canister, you can send cycles, but otherwise all canisters on the IC can receive cycles. So any canister, your own canister or somebody else's canister can receive cycles from a wallet canister, but only the wallet canister has the ability to send cycles.
Yes, so to answer the question, it was about challenge 1, 2, 3, I guess.
Only challenge 2 and 3, I think, not challenge.
All in challenge 2 and 3. Okay. So create a new file called animal.mu. So Yeah, there is, I'm sorry, there is a word that is missing. Create a new file called animal.mo, define a type. So at least two property, so species, type text, energy, type not. Maybe you can add something fun, symbol. And then the goal was to import it in the main.mo file and create a variable that will store an animal. So let's do it. So that's what we discussed just before. Import animal from animal. No, you don't need that. So let's import the type. So type animal is the animal from the animal module. Oh. That's it. I think we've done question 2. So we have imported the type here.
And we don't need to make it public, public type.
You can make it public, yes, would be better, I guess, but it's not a requirement for this question.
Okay. And so the animal.animal could be the first one. The first animal could be something else if you decided to import and to give it another name. If you just call it A.
Yes. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
So basically what Seb is doing over here is he's aliasing the imported module and the animal type into just another type that is calling animal. Ideally, you shouldn't be using public at all over here. The public is specified in the other file. So in the other file, the type of the animal that has been exported in the module is public. But over here, you don't need the public. So ideally, it's always a good idea to only expose as much as you would consume from others. If you're not.
Yeah, but in the challenge, in challenge 3, you have to return an animal. Okay. Well, you have to no, you can make it like that. You're right.
Okay, so when it's
one more.
When it's
one more.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
Ask your question, Alex.
So when it's in animal.mo, it says that it's public. Then you don't have to repeat it. It's you can, but it won't change anything.
I didn't get the question. Sorry.
No, that's not how it works. So the public is for the module. So here we have access to animal here because we import the module. If I do that, yes, if I do that, type field animal does not exist in the module. This actor doesn't have access to what inside the module. But the public here that we were discussing about is for external people, external entities that would like to look at the interface of the canister of the actor. So right now they don't have access to the type animal. Well, let me fix the issue. So that's for when you use the module, and that's for the interface of the canister.
Okay. So if it's in the animal.mo, it means that it's for the main.mo to access it. And if we put public in the main.mo, it means for the people who are calling the canister to access this information.
Yes.
Okay.
And one additional thing I would just like to add, just so that you're aware that this exists. So Motoko uses something called structural type comparison. So over here, if the created animal that has been created, he added, let's say, another property. Can you add some random property to it? Just add the random equal to
Yes.
random equal to some text, like type out some text inside it. No, within double quote. Right? This, like the Motoko compiler will not complain in this case because it knows it needs animal. So animal has the first three types. So if you give it any record with any number of things, but it needs just those specific things, and it will only put those specific things inside A. So after this, maybe if we did a debug print for A, we will notice only the species, energy, and symbol will be there. If we had 5 other properties in those would not be saved in the A variable. This happens due to something called structural typing.
Oh, there is no debug in. Well, I can.
Basically, you need to call it from candid. There is a log in the bottom, right? I think it should log it. Try it out.
No, it doesn't log. If it's on the IC, the debug is not accessible. I've asked the people working on it. It's not possible to get it. Oh yes, that's what you were saying. Here it's treated as an animal, even though the object is has more fields.
Yeah. So I find this really useful when I'm trying to export, like when I'm trying to only expose certain fields on a particular functions. Let's say I have a public function and I'm trying to access a profile object, but I don't want to expose all the properties. I only want to expose 2 or 3 properties. So in the return type of that function, I'll write a record with only those properties instead of everything.
Yes. So what's the question? List.push will add the element to the head of my list. Yes. List.last return. Where is it? Here. Returns the last element of the list. So actually the head of my list. No, I don't think so. No.
So my experience with list is it functions kind of like a stacked data structure, if you're aware of what a stacked data structure is. So it's basically last in, first out. So if you keep pushing things to a list, they keep getting added to the top. And if you pop from it, you see that pop method, it will actually give you the very last element that was entered. If you use last, I believe like the very first element that was entered, that is what will get returned. We can try if you want.
So.
Yeah. So in a function, yeah. So you don't even need to pass that 0. You can just pass, but it's okay. Start with a 0 because then the first element entered is 0.
Wait.
There's an extra parenthesis, I think.
I think it's here, the net.
I don't think you need to pass it. You've already passed it for the
type
on the left. I think
well,
it infers, but that's
okay. So
Yeah.
list. I need the var. So list dot push. Let's push 10, and then we want. Wait. Oh yes, there are two parameters like that.
So try adding another element, 10 and 20,
Yes.
and then and then return the last and return the pop. You might need the switch statement. Okay. So when you call last, it basically is returning the first element that was pushed to the list. And if you run pop, it will return the last element that was pushed. So I think the way to visualize this is to think of it like a stack. A stack data structure is basically something that has a LIFO way of behaving, last in, first out.
Yes. So to answer the question, list.last doesn't return the latest element added. It returns the first element that was added, which is the last element of the stack. Yes. Cool. Yes, I heard the answer on cycle. Just to let you know, the guide number 5 talks about cycle, and I put some really great links to the documentation of the website of Definity, where they talk about cycles and everything. And there was a lecture yesterday on cycles management as well, if you want to watch it. Yes, if you have, if you notice like typo errors or anything on the bootcamp repo, make a pull request for sure.
I think I might have turned off the feature for pull requests and issues and everything. Maybe we can re-enable that if people are going.
Really? I don't think so. I've had people. One guy made a pull request. He made a pull request. I've accepted it.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Then pull requests are enabled. I turned off issues.
What did you say?
I turned off the issues feature. Pull requests are enabled then. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why you're not seeing. Someone is saying that he doesn't see the files. I can see the file.
Basically, people need to click the fork button. Once you have the fork, you can clone the fork locally, and then essentially, you will make the changes and submit that as a pull request.
Yes. Any other question, guys?
I remember on the GitHub discussion, somebody had mentioned they were stuck with not being able to install Vessel. I'm not sure if they're on the call. If you are, please come ahead. We can help you debug this.
My bad, I'm just tired. No worry, I'm also tired.
Yeah, just because I still have the mic, I just wanted to say thank you. I know that I'm asking questions very basic and we are almost at the end of the week, but for me, I take the opportunity to have you answer this question, and I'm really thankful for that.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. We appreciate you. You know, you're motivated. Don't worry about asking any question at all. We are here for that. So Well, if we don't have any question, we will just end the session for today. And we have the next lecture in a few hours. In 2 hours, we have the lecture on introduction to the ICP ledger. So if you want to make process ICP payments on the IC, I need some help, please. Yes, go on. Oh, sorry. People were raising their hand. Oh, sorry, guys. Okay.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, cheers. So yeah, I posted a discussion on GitHub where I get this error.
Is it you or
no?
No.
That's not me. This one, PK Devs, the top one.
Okay.
Yeah. So I get this, and I got remove the comma. I tried that, and I tried with semicolon. I tried many different. I tried
You don't need anything. You just need to remove the comma. What is the error you are getting after that?
Yeah, go down, Seb, if you can exit this, and I answered again. If you scroll down here.
Yes. Yeah. So invalid type string 0.9.2.
So right now you're missing one closing curly bracket.
Yes.
Where?
Here.
There is a closing curly bracket that needs to end at the very end. That is not present, right?
Okay, so one more bracket.
Yeah, one more bracket. You have like the little red wave that indicates that something is wrong.
Okay, let's see. DFX start. No, I get the same.
I've just
maybe go ahead and share your screen.
Yes.
I have to save it. Wait, I forgot to save the file. Let's see.
Okay.
I can share my screen. I just don't know how to do it in Zoom. Let's see. Where do I do that?
I need to wait. I need to do something.
Okay.
Yeah, you need to. Okay. Now you can share your screen.
Okay, here. Let's see. Oh, I have to. I'm on a Mac, so I just have to give this permission. Sorry.
No worries. Just retry.
Yeah.
I noticed Rinas asked another question. Maybe Rinas could just clarify what they're struggling with. Are you facing issues with DFX or not able to start a project? Or
Can you see my screen? This is it, yeah?
not yet. I think Seb might need to stop sharing.
Oh, yes.
Okay, try now.
Okay, let's try again. Let's see here.
Okay.
Have you saved the files?
Yeah, I can do it again.
That's okay. Scroll up so that we can see the entire file. Okay, you have a canisters. Okay. What do you see when you do DFX start? Can you try typing out DFX start? String expected stuff. Okay. Can you remove that entry of entire DFX line? Can you remove that entire entry? Okay. The other thing is one more. So get rid of the entire line. Press backspace. Oh yeah. Save again. Run DFX -- version in the terminal. DFX space -- version. Okay. Run DFX track one more time. Integer one expected stuff canister. Okay. There is some spacing in between the canisters entries. Can you remove day 2, day 3, and day 4 entries and just keep day 1? No, like remove everything except day 1. Just
Okay.
keep day 1.
Like this.
Yeah. There's some more lines. There's one closing parenthesis on line 7. Get rid of that also. Get rid of line 7.
Yeah.
Hit save again and try now. Canisters, day 1. No, hold on. Okay, let's start from scratch. Get rid of the entire contents of dfx.json. Remove everything. No, don't delete the file. Just clean up inside. Yeah. Start with the curly braces, like opening and closing curly. Hit enter. Yeah. Now type canisters within double quotes. Okay. Colon. Hit enter. No, sorry. Open another curly braces and then hit enter. My bad. Okay. Now give it a canister name. Let's call it day_1.
Okay.
No, not like that. Like within double quotes. Yeah. So basically, this is a JSON file. So you have a string and the value. The value can be another further nested structure. It can be anything else, right? So that is what we are doing. So day 1 is the key, and the value for it is within like start another parenthesis after a colon. So type colon. Yeah. No, like parenthesis. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you want curly braces or okay, like this?
Hit enter again. Yeah. Now there are 2 entries we need over here. One is type, which is Motoko. So within double quotes, write type. Okay, and colon. No, out, not inside, outside the double quotes.
Okay, sorry, like this.
Yeah, and then within double quotes, Motoko. And the other entry is comma. So hit comma over here. Hold on. At the end of the line, have a comma. And hit, go to the next line. And over here, type main, MAIN.
Is that correct?
No, not M, just MAIN. And then colon. And this will be within double quotes. Type out day_1.mo. Okay, let's go to your day1.mo. Just let's check it out once. Hit save.
Okay.
Okay, this has an actor, right? Yeah, just hit save.
Save.
Can you try? Yeah, were you saying something?
No. I just pressed save the short command so you know that I saved the file.
Okay. Try running dfx start again.
Oh, okay, nice.
So there was some misalignment
listening.
or some space in between that we were missing.
Okay,
so hence we just recreated the file.
Yeah, so what do I miss? I'm missing some kind of version stuff. Do I have to fill this up with anything else, or can I just copy paste this and change the?
Yep, you can just copy paste this. You will need commas between the entries. So basically, you will have a comma and then day 2, day 3, day 4, just like this.
Okay, like this.
Yeah.
And then I can just take this or.
Yeah.
There.
So there's a starting.
And I can. Is this correct? And I can just continue like this.
This is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Try to align the curly braces over here. So the second curly brace on line 10.
Yeah. Where should it go?
Like hit tab and get it to align. And then there's another curly brace that is missing for the canisters that was opened. So hit enter again.
Do I need one
and
here?
And a closing curly brace for the canisters, right? Now it is aligned and completed. So basically, when you're copying, try to copy including both the opening and closing curly braces. Exactly.
Yeah,
copy
like
it like this. Yeah.
And then I continue here, right?
Yes, with a comma.
Yeah, comma. Okay, sweet. So this will run. I can do this later, so we don't take time from someone else wanting asking questions. Let's see. Thank you very much.
To align that. Sure. You need to make sure that the alignment is okay and you're not missing any closing braces or opening braces, and like you should not have any empty spaces in between, or like just make sure that like it looks proper. I think that was what I missed.
Yeah, and just one last question here. I don't have to specify this DFX version and everything that will run by itself, or?
So ideally, the way this works is when you don't specify it, it tries to be smart about it and infer it either from some default values or from your current DFX installation. But I believe it's a good idea, because then let's say DFX .9.4 comes out and that changes the behavior somehow. So you don't want your code breaking in unexpected places, right? So you ideally you want to specify those versions so that your code is reproducible and like it is basically like you know how it is going to behave. You don't get any nasty surprises. So hence I think it's a good idea, but for this particular use case, it's okay. Go ahead and just it's okay not to specify.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and I can do it later anyway, so I find it somewhere. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Hey, Del Slice.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Go ahead, we can hear you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you fine.
I'm a beginner and I'm still a little confused about everything. But one thing I really wanted to know is like whenever we have a challenge, those functions, can we have like a sample function right here and then show how it can be applicable to like the use case for that function? Because I noticed like in coding, you know, things are always like moving really fast, but someone new doesn't know like, okay, this function, what can I use it for in real life? Or like if I'm programming something, like what can I apply it to? I don't know if this question is understood.
Seb, any thoughts? I don't quite understand the question, but I'll try to interpret what I understood. So basically what you're saying is like all these exercises that we are doing, is there some corresponding real life use cases for these, or is there a way to use them in actual applications?
Exactly, like
I think we have some full-fledged examples from Definity, but they might be outdated. But there are some other organizations like Psychedelic DAO and Tonic Labs and all who put out, who make their code open source. So if you're really interested, you can check out their code, but it is pretty advanced. It is. I would not suggest a beginner to just immediately start checking out those. I'm not sure if Seb, do you have an opinion?
So many challenges. You won't like probably use it in like at least directly. For example, in day 4, you're asked like challenge 7 to challenge 10 and even 11. It's challenges on list, and those functions that you need to create are basically already available for you in the list module. So basically, I'm asking for you to, well, redo what has already been done, and that's often something you will encounter in your life as a developer. Some people have written like really good stuff, and you can just use it without knowing to dive into the complexity behind it. Here, the goal is to learn Motoko and some basics about like data structures and everything. So that's why I'm asking such challenges. So I don't think you will really use exactly what I've written, but I mean, it's the idea is to use that to create your project. I think the challenges are really, I mean, I've built my project on the internet computer, and that's exactly what I would love to have as resources like challenges before creating my project. So I'm not saying like you have everything inside, but you have the basics building block to create your application. And for example, in challenge of day 5, you have a function deposit cycle that you need to create. And this function, actually, it's something that almost every project has in its canister. I'm also asking for like creating a hash map with keys as principal. And that's exactly the kind of pattern you will find in like real world project. So it's not exactly like what you can find, but it's really, really close. So yeah. The last question I can see is, could you clarify how to start the project? So if you want to start the project now, I would go into the GitHub. So let me share my screen maybe again. So I would go on the Bootcamp repo. I would go to the daily challenges, core project example. And here you have like the source code. So I would basically download that. So here you can download the repo. So I would download that. Sorry. Wait. Am I muted or what? No. Okay. So I would probably create a new folder, like Mentour or something like that, just separate from the challenges. Wait. Well, I would use this command. I would clone it, and then I would just probably take that and copy and paste it somewhere, and then you can run it. You have the instructions in the sorry, it's not here, it's in the README. You have the instruction to run the project. I would play with it. So inside core project example. So I would run npm. Wait. Okay, so there is. What is that? Oh yes, I should probably what? I'm not into good. I'm not into good. Yeah, so that's exactly what I shouldn't do. I would probably yes, I would probably open the project like that. So core project example, and then I would move into. Otherwise, we run into issues. So I need to modify that. Sorry, guys. Yes. So now I can probably deploy. There is also the video we've made on the. I think it was the day. It was on Monday. Yes. So you need to provide arguments for this canister. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and just as some general advice, I found that when I don't quite understand something, like taking some time off and again revisiting and redoing the exact instructions again sometimes helps for me. So if I'm trying to understand an example, or if I'm trying to follow a tutorial and somewhere in between I got lost, I would ideally step away from the project for a couple of hours and then come back and again retry from the very beginning. I noticed that usually tends to help sort of solidify the concepts and then clear up a lot of things that were not clear the first time. Because I can totally imagine, like, these are very hard concepts to grasp for a complete beginner. So you need to be patient with your learning process and you need to be patient with yourself. It's quite difficult to get all of this on the very first try. So like, be patient with your learning process. It's okay if it takes a bit of time.
I would probably play with the Mentour. I would also open the console. So if you right click, inspect, you got the inspector, you go to console and you can put it here. You got some information. And then, so again, I would probably review the video. So everything is explained. Basically, the main files you want to check out are the main.mo and the index.js. So yeah, that's really annoying because we need to basically do some JavaScript. I know this is not a JavaScript bootcamp, but the problem with doing only Motoko is that we are trying to make a full project with like an interface and a front end, so it's quite difficult to avoid JavaScript. Yeah, so here we have JavaScript, and then the contract, the smart contract for the Mentour actually. And so I would go through the comments that are here. For example, min the image by calling the min principal function of the Mentour. So Mentour.min principal. I would probably go here and like, okay, so what is min principal? Okay, so this is a public function, takes 2 parameters, and I would try to understand like, okay, what do we do here? Like, why do we do that? Why do we do that? And okay, we return the token, then we print it by going back and forth between the front end and the back end, trying to understand what are the possibilities. And then probably I need to like add some functionalities. I can probably come up with some examples. Like right now, maybe we can like create a public function that will check if the person has the NFT, has the token ID, and maybe say something like you are authorized to access the canister or something really, really stupid like that. Try to play with transfer, maybe. Yeah, one thing which would be amazing for a beginner, I think, is to basically create a second button here, maybe. And this button, maybe you have like 2 principal and it will transfer the token ID. You have 2 principal and a token ID, and it will transfer the token ID between the 2 principal. And yeah, that would be like really, really huge to do that already. What kind of functionality? Also, maybe a button that if you click it, it shows like your list of NFTs. So let's say I have like token ID 1, token ID 5, token ID 6. I click the button, or maybe I put my principal and I click the button, and it says, okay, this principal has token ID 1, token ID 5, and yeah, that would be like really, really huge to do that. I think if we don't have any other question, we can finish this session right now.
Sounds good to me.
Yes.
I think somebody asked another question. How do you create a login with Stoic? I have very limited experience.
How do you?
I would say I have no experience with Stoic. Maybe if Seb has some opinions, we can answer.
How do you create a login with Stoic? So that's something you can do here. Yes, this video, I would watch this video again. So yeah, so going back to the Stoic question, you have the repo here of Stoic identity. It's really old. I mean, it hasn't been updated in 7 months, but here you have all the instructions to basically install the Stoic identity plugin module and add it to your application. So you would just copy the instruction. Let's say I try to do it. So I would copy that. Yeah, integrating with Stoic requires some, I would say, some level of front-end development, because, for example, a beginner wouldn't understand like what we are doing right now. So if you have beginners that like are listening, basically we are adding a module. It's like the module in Motoko, but this time it's in the package.json, and it's for the front end. It's for JavaScript. So we are adding the module here in the package.json that specify all the dependencies, and we've added IC Stoic identity. So with that, we can basically import the module. It's kind of like Motoko, yes. We can import the module here. So import Stoic. And then you have all the instructions here. Basically, it's really, I mean, you can just copy and paste everything. So
Seb, out of curiosity, is this part of the Mentour project? Like, do
No.
we need to integrate this? Okay.
No, it's not. It's not part. I mean, it's not a requirement. But if you want to do it, it's cool. So what I would do is probably add. Let me try if I can do it quickly. Yes, exactly. Again, after you can link it to a button. So that's like the pattern you will probably use a lot. You create a button called Stoic. You name it. So I can remove that, I think. Well, I think it's for the CSS to apply. Sorry. Let's say I call it Stoic. Then I can go in the JavaScript. So let's copy this code. Constant Stoic button. Let's say Stoic button. Document.getElement by ID Stoic. And then maybe I can do something like Stoic button.add event listener. And yeah, I can do that, I think. So I've just wrapped the function that's provided inside an event. So when I click this button, where do you find the constant Stoic button? I've just created it. I've just copy and paste. Basically, I have another button, which is the mint button with the name mint. I've just like copied this syntax. And now, so I'll try to deploy again. You can also, if you are familiar with you can run npm run start to have like a local server that will be updated with the front-end changes, but we can totally do it with the dfx deploy as well. Now I need to refresh. And so I have the Stoic and it works. So you can just authorize, and then you can use the Stoic identity in your front end. So actor is not defined. Yes. Yeah, probably a few things to correct. Like, yes, I'm using the actor, but I need to import the actor from Definity. No, not Definity principal. I think actor is in Definity agent. Yes, that's here. So that's how you would do it. And then after having the identity, maybe we can do something like const console.log. Wait, it's already been done here. So we should see the principal. Yes, we have a principal here, and it's probably my principal, I guess. Yes, it's the principal that is here. So that seems to work. I'm connected with my Stoic identity right now. Okay, I hope it was helpful.
As a general aside, as my personal preference, I tend to use internet identity unless I specifically need wallet functionality, in which case you can look at any of these, Stoic or Plug or the other ones that are also coming up. But if you just need authorization and authentication, I would highly recommend just using internet identity.
Yes, I agree. Is it easier to use internet identity? Well, probably yes. You have more documentations. We've made a video with Kyle, which has worked on the internet identity, where he explained how to set up a login with internet identity. Can you point? So I don't remember exactly. Do you have a link to?
Yeah, I'm just getting.
Yeah. I know that there are good resources to connect with internet identity, and it's really a few lines of code.
So Kyle Peacock actually has a blog that he writes. So he has done some good documentation on how to work with internet identity and just pasting that. But in general, you can read all the posts on his blog. He writes very well articulated and explains very nicely. So you can read the other posts as well. They go into all things IC, including Motoko.
Yes. So yes, good luck everyone for your project. If you are a beginner, like don't stress about the project. I think if like every beginner that has made it so far will get something in reward, like I guess. Yeah, don't stress about the project really. If you are like a beginner, you really don't understand like everything you're doing. Take the time, read the code, try to play. Even if you don't have any core project at the end to submit, I mean, I know like who has been participating in the bootcamp. I've seen like the names and the question and everything, so don't worry about it too much. Yeah, have a great day, everyone.